Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about Highguard because I just played about 2.5, almost 3 hours of it, and the game it's awful. It's just complete, absolute, borderline unplayable garbage. And it's very confusing because this is the project that was the one more thing, the big closeout of the Game Awards. In fact, there's a lot of rumors that Jeff Keighley himself was so personally impressed by this that he didn't even charge them. He just straight up said, hey, I loved your game so much, I'm personally going to put it into the showcase. And now that I've had a chance to play it, I truly do not understand what he saw in it. This project is purely for people that love Apex Legends. If you are obsessed with Apex Legends and League of Legends, if you have thousands of hours in those games and literally nothing else, this is a game for people that do not enjoy fun, that don't enjoy learning, that don't enjoy anything. This is purely a PvP sort of almost base building shooter that I cannot imagine ever taking off. If this game even has 1,000 players in a week, I will genuinely be shocked. But let's talk about this free-to-play mess and why no amount of roadmaps and cool character art is ever going to save it. Let's get into it. I hope you're having a great day, and if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, let me just start with quick the elephant in the room, which is that, yeah, the game runs like trash. Everybody's saying it. It's very commonly, people are actually giving it review bombs and stuff on Steam. The game runs terrible. This is medium graphics on a high-end PC, and it still just barely runs. So if it looks like it's running at like 50 FPS, well, I'm sorry about that. Also, the servers keep crashing. The game itself, even though it only has like 100,000 players, for some reason the servers are constantly going down. In fact, entire lobbies continue to not even be able to populate. But let's talk about the weirdest parts about this game, because this project is so bafflingly bad. I almost want to dissect how poorly they made it. But let's talk about how it works. So Highguard is a 3v3 shooter in a bafflingly massive map. This is a game where you're literally in a huge, empty, giant, like the size of an Apex Legends style map, but with only 3 other people. So because of it, even finding fights is actually a bit of a struggle. So in Highguard, there's 3 separate phases to each of these like roughly 30-minute long rounds. There's the defensive stage. When you first drop into the map, you're building up your own base. There's an enemy base and there's your base. And you get a chance to like board up windows, to put up like defensive barriers, to hammer nails over the doors. This doesn't really do anything. Honestly, breaking down doors, breaking down everything is so easy. Everybody starts with a rocket launcher. Almost everybody's special abilities pretty much just delete all nearby defensive items. So the defense stage, completely useless. But then we move into the Shieldbreaker stage. Basically, every 3 or 4 minutes, there's this giant magic sword that spawns on the map. The goal is to get to it, kill the enemy team, take it, and run it to the enemy base, sort of like a giant flag, and kick off the final phase, which is the raid phase. But we're going to talk about that in a second. So during this like 3 to 4 minute of downtime, this is when you're supposed to essentially find items. There's a lot of boxes, random loot crates all over the place, very much like Apex Legends. A big box. If it's blue, it's got defensive items, you know, shields, barriers, recharges. Whereas if it's a red box, it's weapons. Now, each round you survive. If you don't manage to take out the enemy base on the first attempt, it resets. In this different style of flow, I think this is by far the weirdest part. You're constantly trying to scrounge across the map, finding better items, basically doing this like melee, punching crystals, going to the shop, buying items, but each of the rounds, each attempt to destroy the enemy base, there's like a low threshold. You can get blue items the first round, you get purple items the second round, and orange items the strongest on the third round. But because everybody is powering up at the exact same pace, there really isn't a point to the powering up. If everybody has blue items, if everybody has blue armor, if everybody's got blue sniper rifles, everybody's doing the exact same damage. Like the whole point of the crates in Apex Legends is that you can get lucky. You can find a random super good scope or a nice customization. It's not just, hey, this looks cool. It's, hey, there's that addictive randomization. Whereas this, it's all scripted. There's not really that thrill of, yay, I'm going to hunt. It feels much more mechanical, much more soulless, right? Oh, I managed to break a bunch of crystals and buy that next cool, basically mandatory upgrade. It doesn't feel like there's any sort of like cool methodology. It feels sort of like League of Legends, that there's like these dedicated builds you have to do. But let's talk about that raid phase. So the final phase is if you manage to get the Shieldbreaker to their base, or they get it to your base, you basically break through their giant force field barrier around their base. And your goal is to break some generators and then destroy the final crystal. This really just isn't fun. I mean, I don't know another way to sugarcoat it. Every different character has different abilities. One person's able to like eat bodies and make very weak minions. Some people can do stuff where they automatically delete every defensive barrier around them. One of the characters I like can turn invisible for a couple seconds. But you know, even if you're able to do stuff like radar and stuff, all these abilities just don't feel great, and they charge so slow. It's not like you're using them that often. I feel like the thing that makes this game by far the worst, there's a lot of stuff in this that's straight up trash, but honestly, what kills it more than anything else is the 3v3 nature of it. Having this absolutely giant map. And honestly, I almost kind of like the map graphically. I really like the Apex Legends art, and the fact that this is sort of the Apex Legends developers, they went off and made their own separate project. I do kind of like that cartoonish feel to it. But something about this giant empty map, there's not a sort of call sign. The audio design is absolute trash. I mean, it always sounds like somebody is right on top of you. People would be literally walking 100 feet away, and it's like, what the fuck is happening? So the thing to me is that while you're trying to play this, spending so much of the map scrounging and building a character and then going against opponents that feel so weak in a way, it just feels like everybody is trying to just get into these very pointless skirmishes, because all that really matters is the Shieldbreaker is pushing points. You can get in a horse and ride around, but even that seems kind of irrelevant. Like, why make a map so big that I have to have fast travel? Like, you can even teleport back to base, so when they get a Shieldbreaker, you can like try and defend. It just feels like they're sort of almost creating problems for solutions that shouldn't exist. I do almost think that if this was like 6v6 or even like 10v10, it would actually feel a lot better. I like big, crazy skirmishes sometimes, right? Where you have 5 people, maybe you've got a better item, and they've got like 7 people, but you've got sniper rifles in the back and people with charged ultimates, and you just swoop in there and actually dominate. When you win an unfair fight, it feels great. But if it's a 3v3, it feels like I have seen full team wipes. One of the problems with shooters like this sometimes that don't have some sort of like matchmaking, I have seen people in this game jump off a horse and in midair headshot my entire team. Even in this first like 2-3 hours, I've seen just multiple occasions of people wiping my entire team constantly, because I don't know if they're just that ridiculously good, if they got thousands of hours practice, but I've seen people just click headshot every single person and then cap a point. And it almost just feels like, I wish there was some amount of like, I don't know, the combat just feels so floaty and disconnected that even if the aiming is tight and even if the aiming is accurate, everything about this just feels so out of whack. I don't know. The bad running, I feel like, is part of it as well. Just how bad the performance is. A lot of times when I was trying to aim and I'm having like frame drops or even sometimes input lag. I mean, that's a day one thing. Always online, crappy freaking games as a service trash has that problem where you have like input lag on day one. But this just doesn't really make sense as a project. Like, just in general, Highguard's trying to do what every other live service game is doing, right? Here's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars of microtransactions. They try to say, oh, don't you want to buy this skin of like a bear? Oh, you can make your gun green for 20 real life dollars. Nobody's going to buy these microtransactions. And more than that, it's just one of those times where I feel like I don't really understand the point of this game. I have played way too many dead games. I mean, literally all day long, I could list so many games that have completely devolved. I mean, there's just so many dead live service games that I've already played. Stuff like freaking Anthem and Evolved and Marvel's Avengers and Babylon's Fall and the original Overwatch and Suicide Squad killed the Justice League and Concord and Lawbreakers. And this feels like every other instantly day one dead live service game. Nobody's going to care about this. The flow does not feel good. There's no actual advancement. And this is one of those things where, yeah, they might fix it in 6 months. Yeah, they're tweeting out like content roadmaps of how everything's going to play a year from now. But brother, I don't think you guys are going to have the budget or the player base to even be locked in. A bad first impression sticks too deep. How do you feel about Highguard? I've imagined you guys are probably hating it too. Maybe it's fun to watch on stream. Maybe I'll watch some like streamers play it. But as an actually playing it myself, hell no. Honestly, this game is like 95% negative right now on Steam, and those people are right. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. Oh, God, just bad optimization. Oh, God, just across the board. Just across the board. Bad, bad, bad.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.